for coming this morning to remember who we really are together. It's easy to forget when I'm by myself. And it's easy to remember when I'm surrounded by love and loving ones, and bright eyes and open hearts. I would like to acknowledge again just how difficult it is for some of us, for all of us, really, if we have our eyes open, to stay hopeful, and stay positive, and stay focused on love when there are so many voices of division and war and hatred and otherness. But it makes it no less important for us to stand, for me, for myself, to stand firm in the truth of what I believe. And what I believe is I have a sacred duty and a right to be happy. And to feel love and be loving and to bear witness to peace. I think for myself that's what I'm here for, and I invite you to consider that's what you're here for. So that's why this morning I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about the art of happiness, lessons that my father taught me. I'm very blessed to have had a wonderful, loving, amazing father who was there 100% of the time to the best of his ability. I didn't know until I was asked some years ago, what's the secret to your wonderful marriage with Seth? And what popped out of my mouth was, we both lived with amazing role models of how to be loved and loving. We had both had the advantage of having parents who loved us unconditionally. And yeah, they had their problems, and my dad had his demons and his shadows that he dealt with, but he dealt with them to the best of his ability and showed up for love and showed up for joy. And it's to his memory that I dedicate this notion that we are here to pursue the art and science of happiness. A wonderful term that I first heard from Dr. Arthur Brooks, who's a professor at Harvard University in the School of Business, where he teaches the science of happiness. I encourage you to look at Arthur Brooks, Harvard School of Economics, The Art and Science of Happiness. And he's got a new book, his stuff's all over the internet, he's been on all the top shows. But here's the notion. The notion is that happiness is not the same as pleasure, that pleasure is based in the limbic or animal brain. Pleasure is, ooh, I love this pizza or ice cream. Ooh, it's fun to hug you. That's wonderful. It's a pleasure. It moves through. It raises our endorphins. We smile. Our heart's happy for a minute. But that's different from happiness, as Dr. Brooks discusses it anyway. The notion that happiness is best understood as enjoyment connected to purpose and a sense of satisfaction. In short, it's pleasure, but in a bigger frame. Moreover, he says it's a science because it's something you can study and understand and change.
Yes.
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 Absolutely. And his notion is that after having studied thousands of people across the planet, across different cultures and ages and genders, that 50% of the happiness quotient in most of our lives, this is a broad brush, but for most of us, 50% of our happiness quotient is determined by genetics, what we get literally from our parents and grandparents. 25% is somewhat circumstantial, based on illness or accidents or what money you happen to have or what social class you're born into. But 25%, and the important 25% to focus on, is that happiness is a habit, and that this habit can be changed by understanding, examining, and choosing new choices. You may agree with me or disagree with me, but this resonates for me because Dr. Brooks further says that happiness can be built by following 4 happiness habits. And the first one is practicing faith, which is not the same as a particular religion or a particular understanding, but a willingness to travel a path that transcends yourself. As long as you stay focused on yourself, your vision is small. My Tai Chi teacher and beloved friend Huang Ho used to call it fingertip consciousness. You can look here as if this is the most important thing you're facing, or you can look there and see the big picture. You want to get stuck in fingertip consciousness or faith consciousness? Faith that there's something bigger than you, something more overriding. I'm not here to tell you what it is or if it is. I'm just inviting you to consider that possibility. The second habit is family. Honoring and nurturing a sense of family. This happens to be a tough one for me right now. Personally, it's tough for many of us. More on that later. But the notion is that at the biological level, we now know that there are neuropeptides in your brain that identify people in your clan. That we are literally hardwired to feel a sense of connection to the people, to the clan we were born into. Now, there can be trauma, there can be abuse, there can be addiction that enter into that whole picture. It's a complex subject, but the notion is that to the extent that you make a habit of connecting with family, however you define family, and feel that sense of neuropeptides coursing through your brain and through your system. Third one is the habit of friendship. And the notion that a friendship is different from family. And your family, you may be lucky enough to have family members who are your friends. But friends are people who are totally useless. Consider this concept. Just consider it for a second. And this isn't my idea, this is Dr. Brooks, but it really struck me as very important. That you can have social media friends that you collect because you've got common things online and because you like their likes and their comments and they like your likes and comments. But there's a utility there in a social media sense. And you can have friends that are business friends. You know them because they're in your business. They're in your office, or you know, if you're in the music business, it's the people, hey man, how's it going? How's the gig? Yeah, it's good. It's fun. But those are friends that are useful to you. You've got a transaction. You're going to have a gig together. You've got to create a report in the office together. You've got to learn how to like the boss together, or whatever. That's a useful relationship. A friend is someone who's totally useless to you anyway. And without having a sense of need or attachment or wanting something transactional, you just love them. And you know who they are. And some of us are lucky to have lots of friends. Some of us have to work at it for whatever reason. Again, your past is your past and your biology is your biology. You know, there are genetics involved, there are circumstances involved in who your friends are, but there's also a choice about making friends, finding friends, and opening yourself. Again, a complex topic in and of itself, but I continue. The fourth habit is the habit of engaging in fulfilling work, which may or may not be your job. Job is one thing. In our culture, there's an emphasis on earning money to buy stuff. Job. Not good or bad, that's one, but work. And some of us, I count myself, very blessed to have a job that is my work, that is my passion. But whatever it is and whoever you are, if work is something that you earn your success in, and something that serves others, and something that helps you feel needed, and gives you a sense of meaning, that's the work that brings happiness. And it could be that you have a 9-to-5 job as something, I can't imagine having a 9-to-5 job as an accountant, so I'm going to use that as an example. I know I've got several friends who love being accountants. They're passionate about making numbers fit. God bless them. I don't understand that. But I'm very blessed to have them in my life. Very blessed. So these 4 happiness habits can be cultivated. And my dad cultivated. Just maybe because he was born into it. I don't know. I'm sorry that I never took fully the time to plumb his depths. I kept wanting him to plumb mine. It didn't occur to me to plumb his. Rest in peace, Pop. But he was a man of great faith. He wasn't one of those people who talked about God. He was called to do God. Not to worship Jesus Christ, but to be Benny the Christ to the best of his ability. And he was that guy who showed up early at church, set up the chairs, and stayed late, put them back in the closet. He was that guy who served on every committee, and anytime somebody asked for a loan or for help, he did it to his full extent. He never talked about it. After he retired from his position at the Eden Home for the Aged, where he was the assistant administrator, he discovered there were several dozen people who owed him money. Because when somebody said they were short at payday, he went into his pocket and got some. There wasn't much at our house. But he found some to give at all times. He found a way of bearing witness to his faith and extending his understanding of friendship in the world and being truly helpful to those who may or may not have been helpful to him. And family, Pop was all about families, pure and simple. That meant that he worked double shifts and we didn't see much of him often. First as a janitor and later as an administrator at the Eden Home. But when we came to this country with nothing, in 1957, and by 1962 was the administrator of this nursing home, but in between he worked an awful lot because he knew there was meaning to it. He wasn't just working to be getting ahead. He wasn't just working for himself. He was working for his family, and he was working because he knew he had a higher purpose. He felt it, and he went after it day after day. So, I'm going to ask you to take a few moments to feel how the happiness habits resonate for you. Perhaps what you learned from your parents. Perhaps what life has taught you. Let's take a moment to reflect. What role does faith play in your life? Well, play some. You're here in Celebration Circle. But how can that faith be deepened? What is calling you? The second habit, the habit of family. What in you is the still small voice calling out with family? What wants to be appreciated more? What wants to be released? What wants to be healed? What wants wants to be cherished and nourished. Now I would ask you to consider the habit of friendship. Take a moment to feel and treasure the friends in your life, perhaps. Or to open space for new friends to arrive. And finally, the habit of meaningful work. What in you is being called forth as the highest and best use of your human energy called work, connected to meaning, fulfillment in your understanding? Feel that these are seeds planted in consciousness. These words, these thoughts, these images, emotions, memories. Feel your willingness to turn to the light.
And as we turn to the light together, we remember that the light resides in each one of us. And we take this time to embrace this feeling right here, right now. The light and the happiness are alive in you, in me. As we allow ourselves to feel and express the peace that passes all understanding. So with eyes open or eyes closed, won't you breathe deeply and gently, welcoming and focusing on the one light and the deep abiding peace which permeates us all. See this light. Feel the peace which forms and informs everything surrounding us. The light of the sun that gives us light on planet Earth. The light of the holy vibrating through all of creation. It is this light which allows happiness in our lives. And whether that light and that happiness is fully aflame and burning within you right now, or maybe you're able to locate a spark of that Either way, this is a time for you to feel love and light and happiness pouring through you. Through your faith, your family, your friends, your meaning, your purpose. One day, one step at a time. One breath at a time. And in the silence of this moment, we feel the safety of this space. And we're invited to release all judgments and to choose anew. To see whatever darkness that there is. And then to feel the power in choosing to align with the expansiveness of the light and the love and the divine presence right here, right now. And know that you are not alone in this process. There are many others in this community and around the room that are feeling and expressing and living this truth with you. So together we affirm that the divine spark is alive and burning in the heart of each and every being on the planet. And we reaffirm our willingness to see, to feel, to nurture, and to support that spark within each one of us, within ourselves, each other, and all of creation. And as we do this, may all beings be blessed as we remember, as we affirm, let there be light. Together, let there be light. And once again, let there be light. And so it is.